guitar, one of the most important things to learn is how to make chords, because most songs, all guitar songs, have chords in them. And we'll start with the basic chords. It's probably a good idea to do this slowly at first and then develop your speed as you're able. One of the better exercises to do that I found is to put your fingers on the chord. In this case, we'll do a G chord. And you put your fingers on there and you strum across the neck. Now, to do this fast, you'll have to practice. So what I do is take my hand away and then repeat it. As soon as I can, I try to make the G chord. And at first, you're not going to be fast, so be patient with yourself. And then just keep practicing that until pretty soon you just land on the chord and you're able to strum. The reason is when you're strumming, you have to keep time and you won't be able to stop, so you'll have to be able to change chords quickly to be able to play songs. So I'll give you an example. This will be how it'll be in the beginning. Slow it in the beginning, but eventually you'll be able to strum and change. And with guitar, if you know 3 chords, you can do 1,000 songs. So it's a good idea to learn all the basic chords, and we won't cover all of them today, but we'll start with several. This will be the E chord. And make sure when you play your chords that you find the root of the chord. It'll be the bass note of the chord. For instance, on a G chord, your root is a G note, or the bass note. It's important that you play the root of the chord. One of the techniques that you'll develop is the ability to mute the strings that you don't want to hear. In other words, on an A chord, you'll want the root note, or the A note, and the rest of the chord, but you won't want the E note. If you play this string, it won't sound as good as if you just play the root and the A chord. Same with the D chord. On the D chord, you use the D note, which is the D string open, and the rest of the chord. But you'll want to avoid the E string and the A string. So you want the root and nothing else. Well, the chord. So let's go with these 3 chords will be E, A, and B7. And back to E. And you can strum like this. A, B7, and E again. 1,000 songs right there. Now another way we can do these chords is using bar chords, and this for rock music, it's the preferred method. They sound as big as a house, it's very cool, and it's the same chords, but you're just doing them in a different way, and when you have a distortion on your amplifier, it really sounds a lot better than the open chords, which tend to sound a little washed out. Let me give you an example. Here's an E chord in the traditional chord method, open method. I was wrong, that actually sounded pretty cool. But you could do it up here, or here. And for rock, we're going to get into the bar chords. What I found is it's easier to do the bar chords than the open chords once you get the hang of it. Play in first position, that's when you're using the 6th string or E string as your bass note. You can play a 3-note chord, and it's called a power chord. In this case, it's a G chord because you're using the G note, or the root of, it's the G root. Now you want to be careful you don't play the rest of the strings or it'll sound awful. So again, you have to practice muting with the palm of your hand, and practice hitting just the strings that you're trying to hit. So here's a G, an A, a B, a C, and again, if you know the notes, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, or A flat, A sharp, or B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp or E flat, and E. So when you know the notes, you can play the chord just by adding the same shape. This would be an F note, so it's an F chord. Here's a G note, here's a G chord. Here's an A note, here's an A chord. And so on. When you go to the next string as your root and you're using the 5th string or A string as your bass note, you want to be careful that you don't hit the 6th string, because again, that would sound like this. If you don't hit it, it sounds like this.